我们始终不扮高深，我们力求直播传真。
Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is about power, not about sex. Poverty, race, language, and other barriers put the woman as vulnerable. What does sexual harassment look like? Sexual harassment can take many forms. Sexual harassment is sexual behavior that is unwanted. Often the harasser is someone in a position of formal authority. But harassment occurs between co-workers or peers as well. Men are sometimes harassed, but most of the victims of harassment are women. Point 1. The harasser is almost always male. Point 2. Sometimes the harassment is directed at a particular woman. It could be in the form of suggestive comments, pressure for sexual contact, or demands for sex in return for a job or other benefit. It can involve unwanted sexual touching or rape, both or sexual assault. Sexual harassment also happens when sexual jokes, sexist remarks, or pin-ups create a hostile and intimidating environment for women. Sometimes the harassment is also directed at a woman's racial or cultural background, sexual orientation, disability, or other personal characteristics. Point 3. In these cases, the woman is victimized. For example, racial minority women face prejudice and discrimination on 2 grounds. Often, their harassment involves both racism and sexism. Sexual harassment of women is widespread. Virtually every woman has experienced street harassment, whistles, sexual remarks, or touching by strangers in public places. Point 4. Women also contend with unwanted sexual advances at work or school. In a recent national poll, more than 1/3 of the women who had worked outside the home said that they had been sexually harassed on the job. Point 5. Surveys of students at Canadian universities have found that about half of the women respondents have experienced some kind of sexual harassment on campus. Point 6. It also happens in other situations. Women have reported sexual abuse by their doctors, 7 therapists, 8 lawyers, 9 landlords, and neighbors. Point 10. Sexual harassment is about power, not about sex. It is an abuse of power, the social and economic power that men hold over women. When men use their power to treat women sexually in a non-sexual context, they interfere with women's right to work, to learn, to walk on the street without fear, and to be treated as equal and respected participants in public life. Like other kinds of woman abuse, sexual harassment both reflects and reinforces women's unequal position in our society. Workplace harassment reflects women's economic inequality. Despite laws against discrimination in the workplace, women generally remain in poorly paid, lower status, and less secure jobs. More than twice as many women as men work in clerical, sales, and service occupations. Point 11. Women continue to be underrepresented in managerial and leadership positions in our economy. When women do enter non-traditional fields, whether blue-collar or professional, they may face harassment from hostile male co-workers. Point 12. Over 90% of women who responded to a women in trades survey said that they had been sexually harassed. Point 13. A study of large U.S. corporations found that the highest rates of sexual harassment complaints are at companies with the lowest percentage of women workers. Point 14. Poverty, race, language, and other barriers also put women at risk. Being at risk economically can be aggravated by other social differences. In a Montreal study of sexual discrimination against women tenants by landlords and neighbors, single mothers and women on welfare reported the highest levels of sexual harassment. Point 15. Immigrant women, who often occupy the most low-paying and least secure positions in the workforce, may lack the support groups and language skills that are necessary to confront harassment. Point 16. Sexual harassment can have serious consequences. Not all women react the same way. But many women feel degraded and humiliated by sexual harassment. Some women feel confused. They question their own feelings and reactions. Before they realize that the harasser is responsible for the problem, they are angry, anxious, and, if the harassment persists, may become depressed and demoralized. The emotional strain can cause physical illnesses such as nausea, headaches, and fatigue. It can affect a woman's personal life and the quality of her work. 17 She may be fired or forced to leave her job or school program to avoid the harasser. Loss of self-confidence, health problems, unfair evaluations, poor references, and a disrupted work record can have a long-term economic impact, such as not being able to find another job. Sexual harassment is against the law. Poverty, race, language, and other barriers also put women at risk. Sexual assault and sexual harassment is against the law. Canadian law prohibits sexual harassment. Federal, provincial, and territorial human rights commissions are responsible for investigating and resolving harassment complaints. Employers have been held accountable for sexual harassment in the workplace. As a result, many large companies, unions, universities, professional bodies, and other institutions have adopted their own policies against sexual harassment. Yet many women still feel they have few options. Only 4 of every 10 Canadian women who suffer sexual harassment at work take any formal action. Only 1 out of every 2 women believe that a complaint would be taken seriously in their workplace. Often, women who report harassment are not believed, are discredited, or even blamed for the problem by their colleagues. As well, the harasser may retaliate. Legal action is slow, stressful, and expensive, and awards are usually small. Publicity surrounding a complaint may hurt a woman's job prospects and personal life. Few women can afford to take these risks. The real solution is equality for women. Human rights agencies should be made more effective and accessible, and should provide better compensation to women who are sexually harassed. But human rights law by itself cannot end sexual harassment. The fundamental solution to sexual harassment is social, economic, and political equality for women. What you can do: speak out. Raise the issue of harassment in your workplace or institution. Give a copy of this fact sheet to someone who could benefit from reading it. Support women who were harassed. If you were harassed, remember that it's not your fault. The harasser is responsible for his own behavior. The harassment most likely won't stop if you ignore it. It may actually get worse. Find friends or colleagues who will support you. Other women probably have been harassed by the same man. Contact a rape crisis center or women's center to talk to other women who understand your situation. They can help you with ideas and strategies. Protect yourself by keeping a detailed written record of every incident. Ask the harasser to stop, in person or in writing. Take someone with you as a witness and for support. If it continues, find out about other options. Does your union, workplace, or institution have a procedure for dealing with sexual harassment complaints? Whom can you count on to support you? Is there a group of women who can act together? If you lose your job or suffer other reprisals, or your complaint isn't taken seriously, get advice about filing a complaint with a Human Rights Commission, or suing the harasser and/or his employer. You are entitled to unemployment insurance if you are fired or leave your job because of sexual harassment. In some provinces, workers' compensation boards have awarded compensation to women who have suffered stress-related disability caused by sexual harassment on the job. If you have been sexually assaulted, call a rape crisis center. They can help you with emotional and practical support as well as information about criminal charges and other legal action. Finally, remember that there isn't one right way to handle sexual harassment. Seek advice, find out about your options, and then make your own informed decision about how to proceed.
支持我们，就请在视频右下方点击订阅我们的频道。
本节目由美国加州奥克兰市英记世家赞助播出，订餐电话510-465
1888。